Well, everybody, I'm Kenny Brown, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about some brake tech. Okay, as far as brake tech, you've seen a number of times I've shown the Pro 4R race brakes we've developed with Baer, and they're just absolutely awesome brake package. But they are specifically race brakes. They use race pads, race rotors. I mean, they are a race setup. A little impractical for the street. However, for our street cars, we also have a really cool big brake kit. And I'm fortunate is we just happen to have a GT500 in the shop right now. We're doing the full suspension of brakes on. So if nobody's looking, I kind of stole the brakes so I can show you to you for a little bit. But then I'm going to put them back so they don't even know they were gone. So when I look at big brake kits, what I want something that's really solid, that works, that's cost effective and looks good. So along those lines, for all the big brake, here I go again, I keep doing that. All the big brake kits. Okay, say that 10 times fast. All the big brake kits that I use are for S197s and also S550s and S195s are pretty much the same. The same calipers, the rotor size might be a little bit different, but let me start off with showing you the front. This is our Extreme Plus 6-piston caliper. And it's forged, and you can see this is pretty heavy duty. It's got really nice thick 0.71 thick brake pads, really nice machined bracket that goes on it. And what you can't see, kind of hidden in here, are ARP studs along with 12-point high straight nuts, which, you know, the 12 points going to give you better torque value. And that's kind of the working end. I mean, that's the 6-piston. This is a really great setup. And to go with that, at least for the S197, we have a 14-inch by 1.25 rotor and 2-piece slotted. I don't use slotted. Remember that if you use a drilled rotor and go on track, it's going to crack into drill holes, period. So I only use slotted. In fact, for Baer, we have our specific part numbers just with Baer because of the way I like my rotors done. So that's kind of like the working end of the front. I always like to talk about the front first because that gets the corner first. And also to go with those, we have stainless steel brake lines. And with this, they're a banjo type fitting, which is exactly what we use in professional grade race cars. So they work great. In fact, these have just a real light clear coat over the stainless steel. It makes them a little more durable. That's kind of the front end of the car. And for the back, if you've heard me before, I talked that with 8.8 differential with the C-lock axles, it's really difficult to put a big brake kit on the back. Simply because the big brake kit will be solid mounted to the axle, the rotor solid mounted, so the rotor is also solid mounted. And what happens is with a C-clip, there's a little bit of play in and out on the axles. If you've ever taken the back end apart, you've seen a little bit of play. It can be a little bit or even a little bit more. The problem with that is if you go around a corner and the axle moves, and you go around the corner the other way, the axle moves again, even a little teeny bit, it's going to knock the pads back. It's called pad knockback. So next time you go to hit the brakes, your foot goes all the way to the floor, and then you're just pumping like crazy to kind of get brakes before you hit the wall. So that's why we don't put big brake kits on the back unless we do things like change over to like a welded end and a Ford 9-inch type axle, which the bearings on the axle that bolts in so it's solid. Or we actually have, we do like 9-inch rear ends. We have specially built 9-inch rear ends for S197 and 550s and Fox. We get them for all of them. So what we do, we want to increase the braking power in the back, but you know, putting the big brake kit on is not a good choice. So what we do, we've got a really great solution. Okay, I just happened to use a rag because this is a crusty, dusty rotor that just came off of the back of the GT500. And you know, this is like an aftermarket rotor. It's got slots and holes. And like I say, you've heard me before, I never ever use holes, always slots. Because these things get hot, absolutely guaranteed, 100% every single time they're gonna crack right at the holes. And that's a bad thing. So, you saw the wimpy little rear rotor. This is what we put on instead. What do you think? It's a 14-inch rotor, and it's the exact same width. It's ventilated, the exact same width as the factory rotor, but it's 2-piece. which means it's got aluminum center. And with a bigger diameter, it's like using a breaker bar. You know, if you go break a nut loose and you got your little 3/8 ratchet and it can't get it done, you put a breaker bar there, it's easier. Well, the same thing happens with brakes. You put more rotor on the back, it's more leverage on braking, more braking power, and totally transparent ABS. And something we found in testing, it's a long time ago, I might have my numbers off a little bit, but with a stock rotor, we were seeing something like, I'm gonna say just 500-degree rotor temperatures in the back. And when we went to the, this is with our GT4 AGS 4.0 suspension with good anti-squat, good anti-dive. When we went to the 11-inch rotor, the rotor temperature jumped up like in the 800-degree range. And then when I went to the full, this was a modified axle, went to the full 6-piston big brake kit in the back, they went all up to 1100 degrees. So the moral of the story is kind of the more brake you put on the back of Mustang, the more it uses it. You know, for years, people say, well, no bother putting bigger brakes in the back of Mustang. They don't use it. All the braking's at the front, the back of the air, back of the car is always up in the air. Well, with a rear grip kit, it's not always up in the air, it stays down. But what I'm saying is you can dramatically improve your braking, stopping distance, stopping power by big brake kit in the front and a big rotor kit on the back. Now for SN95s, we have this brake available for SN95s, but we have some for a 13-inch rotor for smaller wheels, but I prefer the 14-inch rotor. And I like to see at least 18-inch wheels, but I think they will fit on the or 19-inch wheels. I think they will fit 18s. But we also, just to be sure, anytime you get a big brake kit, very important that you understand, will your wheels clear big brakes? Now for our kits, we can send you a template that you can kind of print, put on a piece of cardboard. I'm gonna have one over here. Hold on, I'll be right back. Here you go. There's a brake template. This is for our Pro 4Rs. And there, you can see it. This prints off in kind of like real in the actual size. And I put just a piece of cardboard, and you can lay that on your wheel. Oops, go this way. You don't see the ugly back. You lay it on, let's see, lighting, help me out here. This is getting bad. Okay, we'll try that. Okay, you just put it on your wheel in here, and this will give you the profile of the brake so that you can see if this hits any of the spokes on your brake that's not on your wheel, the brake kits aren't going to clear. If there's room, then the brakes are going to clear. All the wheels that we use and carry clear big brakes. So, and then for the S550 cars, we have same caliper, 15-inch rotor on the front, which even better. But we also, because it's an IRS car, we also have a big brake kit for the back. It's also a 15-inch rotor, 6-piston caliper. So that's pretty cool. And the brakes that we do have kind of like a secret brake package we use for the 550 cars. It's my super mono monster Giganta brakes. It's actually, the rotors are 15-inch and the calipers themselves are like 14 3/4 inches and they're massive. But that's only for the 550 cars and only for the front. And we just put them on our special builds, like the GT4 CSR cars, like Maryland, for example, that we built a year or two back. But that's kind of where we are with the big brake kits that I use. And the reason I use them is because they work. They're good quality and they work. So that's a little on the brake tech on the brakes I use on my cars. So there. And this, better get these back on the bench before the guys figure out that I stole them. So with that, we'll see you next time.